Hey there folks, today I'd like to take a casual peek into the S.H.Figuarts Masked Rider Ouja action figure set from Bandai. I don't know when this set was first released. I think it might have been early 2012 and sold initially for about $40. I got this set in the summer of 2012 through a brick and mortar collectible shop called Japantown Collectibles located in San Francisco, California, and I ended up paying about $40 for the set. It's interesting to note that since the release of this set the value has gone up a little bit. I noticed on Mandarake that this set averages about 6,000 to 7,000 yen, which is about $65 to $75. Taking a look at the set here, we have Ouja, who is probably considered the main bad guy from the tokusatsu Japanese show called Kamen Rider Ryuki. And there is a US adaptation called Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. And I believe he might be the bad guy in that show as well. I haven't watched all of the episodes on that version, but I have seen the Ryuki, and I consider Ouja here my favorite character on the show. I really like the guy. He's just a badass bad guy. And you can see the figure here. He comes with a whole bunch of accessories, his sword vent, his visor. Pretty cool. And on the packaging you can see a picture of Ouja there, and the broken mirror motif. That's a thing on the show. It's a mirror universe where they do battle against each other, and you can see the spotted pattern that's common with the Masked Rider Ryuki or Kamen Rider Ryuki sets to represent the dissolving nature of staying in the mirror universe too long or being vented. And you have Masked Rider Ouja across here on the bottom in nice purple foil lettering, although the camera shows it a little bit of blue, but it's actually purple, and it's pretty nice. And the name is along the side of the packaging as well on both sides. It's pretty nice. Here we have the back of the packaging with Ouja in various poses, one with his sword vent, one with his advent, about to summon his contract beast or monster, Venice Snaker. And we have here some detail of the advent deck, where they pull the cards from, where he has a card right there. Nice close-up of Ouja there. And you can see where I paid about $40 through Japantown Collectibles there. And here we have some writing in both English and Japanese. And of course primarily in Japanese here, since this is a product from Japan, and more writing there. Now we'll be right back and have the contents of this set out of the packaging. Okay, we're back and we have Kamen Rider Ouja out of the packaging, and as you can see there are a few items included with the figure, but not as many as other Kamen Rider Ryuki figure art sets, such as Ryuki or Knight. This set does not include a contract beast or monster like Ryuki or Knight. Actually, his contract beast is sold separately. And this set also does not include as many accessory parts compared to the earlier releases. Mainly because Ouja really didn't have that many accessories to begin with. He only had his basically visor and his sword vent. But let's go ahead and take a look at the items that are included with Kamen Rider Ouja. And we'll start out with this here. Nice plastic baggie, and within the baggie are a couple of items, and we'll take a look at those. Get these out. What we have here, of course, is the paper sheet included with the set that shows all of the extra hands and how to use the accessories that are included with Ouja. Pretty cool. And all of it written in Japanese, and cannot read any of it. But you can pretty much figure out what it says there. Nothing on that side. Also included in that plastic baggie is a smaller plastic baggie that has all of the Advent cards. Well, not the entire deck for Ouja, but there are quite a few cards here that are included that you can use to pose with the Kamen Rider Ouja figure. Pretty cool. Very small and very neat. There's a lot of detail on here, and I don't plan to take this out anytime soon. Maybe to pose with some photographs, because I don't really want to lose any of these cards. They're very small and easily lost if you're not careful with them. But you can see the cards there. It's actually kind of neat. And you can even see a contract card here, a blank contract card, which he uses on the show to bind two other contract monsters from riders he's defeated on the show, at least on the Ryuki show. So that's kind of cool. Next thing we'll take a look at are the extra pairs of hands, and they include quite a few extra pairs of hands in this set, maybe to compensate a little bit without having to include a stage or a contract beast in this set. There are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 complete pairs of hands, and then 2 extra posing hands. And we'll go over each of these hands. And we'll start out with these here, which look like a pair of relaxed curved fingers here, and where the fingers are joined together. Pretty cool. And you can see the back of the hands. I have some armor padding on here with that nice purple paint on there. Pretty cool on there. And we also have a pair of relaxed bent fingered hands where the fingers are separated on there. Nice detail on those. And then you have a pair of card holding hands, a left and right card holding hand, which is nice. And you can see there's a little bit of a gap in there between the two fingers where you can insert the cards. Pretty cool. And there's the right hand there. And you also have a pair of closed fists right here, and these were attached to the figure at the time. They were in the package. And then you also have a pair of gripping hands. This one here, I have the other hand, other pair attached to the figure. And then you also have another pair of gripping hands where the grip is a bit slanted compared to this gripping hand. You can see how this gripping hand is more leveled off in the fingers, while this gripping hand is slanted, and you get a pair of those as well, and the other half of this pair is on the figure again. So I think the slanted pair of fingers are really for the sword vent there. Pretty neat. And then you also have these 2 extra hands that are not pairs, but you have a pair of, again, another relaxed hand, and I shouldn't say pair, a single relaxed hand here. Pretty nice. And then you also have this single card holding hand that's stylized compared to the other card holding hand. This one I think is kind of really tied to Ouja. He did tend to hold his cards with the 2 fingers oftentimes in a dramatic type pose on there, and you can see where you can insert the card here instead of having the typical card holding hand like this. It's with his 2 fingers, so it's kind of cool. Pretty neat. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the 2 accessories included with Kamen Rider Ouja here. And we'll start out with the visor. And you can see one of the gripping hands I have holding the visor, and the one with the leveled fingers on there. And you can see the visor here. Very cool, very nice. And you can see the sculpt of the snake, which is the contract beast that Kamen Rider Ouja is bound to. His beast is called Venosnaker, and it's like a purplish cobra, and his visor is in the shape of a cobra head, which is pretty cool. And you can see the sculpting work on there. It's got this purple paint with the gold trim, and the gold trim is not just painted on, it's actually sculpted and painted, which is very cool. You can see the handle for his visor, which almost looks like the stick from Jafar from the movie Aladdin, which is pretty cool. And you can see some detail on the grip here, by the way. Very nice, and some detail work on the sculpt here in gold. Very cool. I'm not sure if you can pick it up on the video, but it's actually quite nice on the detail. And then you have the length of this visor in, again, purple metallic paint, which is very cool. Now this visor does actually flip open for him, for Ouja, to load the cards into. You can see how that slides up and down. Very neat. And you can see where you can insert the cards into, which is very nice. And you can see some sculpted detail on the inner portion of this sliding mechanism. You got some sculpted detail within and silver paint on that, and that's actually pretty cool. Very nice how that slides up and down. So you can pose the figure with Ouja loading a card into his visor. Very, very cool. Next thing we'll take a look at is Ouja's sword vent. And this particular sword vent is very nice. And you can see how the hand here with the slanted grip is using this sword vent. And I think it fits more naturally instead of the leveled off fingers on there. And getting the hand into this grip is actually takes a little bit of work. The grip is very tight, so you have to work on it a little bit to get the grip onto the sword vent. But looking at the details of the sword vent, it's actually very cool. You got this curved blade, if you can call it a blade there, which is very interesting because this sword vent is actually part of Venosnaker's tail. It's the stinger to Venosnaker's tail. So when Ouja actually loads a sword vent, I guess Venosnaker detaches his tail and provides him provides Ouja with a melee weapon. And it's very cool. It's sculpted and painted in gold, and you can see this pattern here, repeating pattern. It's not a spiral pattern, but it looks almost like a spiral pattern that's sculpted into there. And it's not quite flat like a blade on there. It's got some definition to it, and it's actually very, very cool. And it's got a very pointed tip there. It's very nice. And the paint applied on here is very well done. No bleed I can see whatsoever. And here on the grip you could see again more the purple motif for Ouja. You got that metallic purple color there. Very, very nice. And the actual handle grip is actually in black. And then you have these port here at the end of this blade, which is typical of Kamen Rider Ryuki's. You could see it throughout the uniforms that the Kamen Riders wear on there, and it's actually pretty cool. And this one, there's a hole here that's hollowed out on there, but very nice sword vent for Kamen Rider Ouja. Let me just put the hand back on there, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at Kamen Rider Ouja next. And as I mentioned, this character is actually my favorite character on the Kamen Rider Ryuki show. He is, I guess you can consider the main bad guy on the show. He's the one Kamen Rider in Kamen Rider Ryuki who will fight anyone just for the sake of fighting. He's often wanting to duel other folks or just fight. That's in his nature. And he doesn't care who he fights as long as he fights, and whether it be a good guy or another bad guy. And I really like the character on the show. There is that US adaptation called Dragon Knight. I don't know what that character is like, since I haven't watched too many episodes of that show. From what I've seen, he seems to be a lackey of one of the main bad guys in Dragon Knight. So the character is actually quite different, at least from the initial episodes I've seen. But whenever I'm referring to Ouja, I'm referring to the Ryuki character, which I actually do like. And taking a look at Ouja here, you can see it's very well sculpted, and we'll start out with the head sculpt here, which is very nice. You can see the cobra head motif, especially on the sides of the head here where it flares out a little bit, and then you can see the top with the sculpt here. It's very similar to the snake, Venice snake, or the visor that he uses. That's actually kind of neat. And very, very nice. And you can see all this gold work here that's actually sculpted and painted in gold, just like the visor was. And it's very, very nice. And the front of the face has those slits that are typical of Kamen Rider Ryuki Kamen Riders. And it's sculpted. Each of the slits are sculpted, which is nice. And if you look real carefully, you can see that the slits are not black, but actual deep purple, or probably the same purple as what's on Ouja here, but it's actually quite neat. And you can also see sculpted detail of the fangs of a snake down here. Very, very cool. And I do have to mention one thing about this paint scheme, or at least the purple paint scheme of Ouja. It is a lighter purple than I'm normally seeing on the show. I'm not sure if it's just the paint from this Figuarts version, but it seems to be a little bit lighter in shade. I wish it was a deeper purple, but it's still pretty good on here, and I've manipulated the camera to show as much purple as I can, because my camera has a difficult time processing the color purple, but it is a lighter shade when you see it in person, but it's still well done. It's a metallic like purple, which is applied very well. You can see it especially in the glare, where it's got a combination of gloss and a nice metallic sheen to it. It's actually very cool. Also, the suit is painted in silver as well, which is a very nice shade of silver. Very, very cool. And looking at the rest of the figure here, you can see the sculpt of his armor here, and it's got those flared out cobra-like sculpt to it again, which is very cool, very nice. You can see more of the gold sculpting and painting on here. I have to mention his mantle piece here is loose, and it's also described in the on the sheet here. You could, let me just fold this out here, that it is movable, and it does sit loosely, but not too loosely, and does shift up and down. And I think it's to free the articulation of the arms to provide better posability. But it's not too loose, but it'll sit in whatever pose you put it in. But It's pretty neat. It doesn't come completely off, but it does shift up and down if however you want to pose the figure on there, and it's actually pretty cool. And also you can see on here the typical ports that are used in the Kamen Rider Ryuki show to, I guess they're interface ports, I'm not sure, but it's a common thing on the riders. And I do have to mention two particular ones. The forearms here actually are a little bit loose. They come out pretty easily on there, so you got to be careful that they don't just randomly pop off and get lost, so you have to keep track of that. I am thinking about gluing mine in because I don't see no reason why they would need to be removed. And I never really see them actually being used on the show other than at the waist area as a seat belt type thing on the bikes that these riders ride around in. But I don't think I've ever seen Ouja even ride a bike. I could be wrong, but it's pretty interesting. One thing I also want to mention here is the belt. Very cool. You have the rider belt and the advent deck here, and the advent decks on these Figuarts Ryuki figures are actually removable. They slide in and out. Let me see if I can pull this one out here. You can see the detail on this particular card. Very cool. You can get it into focus there. Let's see if I can get into focus. And we have here a cobra-like design. That's not in focus. There we go. A cobra-like design in gold, which is very cool. And it's very neat that they are able to slide in and out of the belt. Taking a look at the belt area some more, you'll notice that there's a plastic film behind the belt, and it appears that we may have to pop off the torso to be able to remove this plastic film. It's very much like the Gokaiger sets that have this film, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can pop this off. Okay, I was able to pop off the torso, but not the one I thought I was going to pop off. Looks like I was able to pop off the mid-torso area. On the Gokaiger sets, the entire torso area above the waist was able to come off. So I'm going to see if I can actually just slide this off the figure here. And it looks like it's able to slide off, because I've not been able to get a good grip on this torso to be able to pop off. It's very tight and I don't want to risk destroying it, so that's why I'm not popping off that. I'm trying to slide this off instead, and it looks like it slides off very well. And should be able to pop this torso. You can see the ball joint here back into place. Let me just go ahead and do that. There you go. And that pops back into place fairly well. Taking a look at the rest of the figure, you can see the typical Kamen Rider Ryuki styled leggings. It seems that most of the riders have very similar leg styles, at least when it comes to the bodysuits there. And it looks like it's mirrored the same way in figure form. Very cool. And then you have here on the lower leg area, the boot area, again with this metallic purple. It's very nicely done, and hopefully it renders it through the video fairly well. Like I said, I wish it was a little bit darker shade of purple, but this lighter one is doable, and it still looks very nice. And you can see here along the foot area that the sculpt is very well done as well. And these are sculpted and not just painted on, so it's actually very cool. And even at the bottoms of the feet, you have some of that sculpt detail, and even the Cobra-like logo or his Contract Beast symbol on the toes, the bottom of the toes, which is very cool. A very neat figure overall, and I really dig this figure because it is my favorite character on the show. Going over articulation for Kamen Rider Ouja here. The head is on a ball joint, separate from the neck, so there's 2 points of articulation for the head and neck area. The head itself can go all the way around the top of the neck, and can go up a bit and down, even tilt side to side. It's on a circular type movement, so that's very cool. And the neck itself has a similar joint at the base for the shoulder. So the neck can go up and down, probably all the way around if you had a good grip around the neck, and even side to side. So the combination of the head and neck provide great posability, a nice range and movement, especially for Kamen Rider Ouja. On the Ryuki show, he tended to cock his head to the side quite a bit to show, I guess, his arrogance without revealing details of the face, since they have helmets, but he tended to cock his head to the side quite a lot, and you're able to do that with this figure here. And as I mentioned earlier, this shoulder mantle armor area is movable up and down, really to provide greater articulation for both the torso and the arms. So you can adjust the mantelpiece depending on how you pose the arms. And the arms are on a multiple joint system here. The arms can go all the way around at the shoulder, as well as out that far with the movement of the shoulder piece here. You can go out that far and in, and the armor piece at the shoulder is able to move up and down as well. And the shoulder itself has circular movement range, a nice circular movement range. You can see there. Provides quite an array of posability for the arms, which is very cool. One thing you want to do is not have the arms in that lower position too much, because it looks quite awkward with the mantelpiece sitting so high. Usually this mantelpiece over here is very close to the top of the shoulder, so you really don't want to pull the arm down too much and leave it that way. It does tend to look awkward in that pose. The torso is on a ball joint, as we saw earlier, that can go around, that far down, that far up, and that far back, but not too far back, because the back of the mantelpiece here does restrict the posability there. And I forgot to mention the posability for the rest of the arm, and we'll go over that next. There is a swivel cut at the shoulder. It's very tight on mine. You can hear it squeaking around, but it can go around, and you have to get a good grip on the arm to do it. And there are double joints at the elbows that allows the arms to bend that much forward and this far out straight. The forearms have a swivel that can go all the way around, pretty much like a top of the glove type arm there, and it looks like the port just fell out earlier. There it is here. Put this back on. And the arms at the wrists are on a ball hinge swivel joint, so you can get the hands all the way around. And there is a hinge that you can move around to either have the hands go in and out, or side to side, depending on how you want to position that. And continuing with the torso, there is articulation at the waist, so you can get the lower or mid-torso area around, or down, up, or back. So with the upper and mid-torso, you can get a lot of posability with that figure here. The hips have a hinge and swivel combination joint. Allows the leg to swing upwards, down, and back, as well as out to the side quite a bit. And there is a rotational swivel at the top of the thigh, allows the leg to go all the way around. There are double joints at the knees, so you can bend the knees this far back and this far forward. And by the way, this port is removable as well. You'd have to pull it out, but it has a much tighter fit than what's on the forearms. And the feet are joined at the ankle with a nice combination of joints. Here you have a hinge to allow the feet to swing upwards this much, downward that much, and there is also a swivel joint that allows the foot to go all the way around. And there's also a ankle pivot in addition. You can move the foot at a nice angled position there, and nice angle position this way, but not as much as the other direction. And there is toe articulation as well. It allows the foot to bend, or the toes to bend upwards. Very nice combinations of joints for posability, and it's really nice. It's pretty much typical for figure arts, and which provides excellent articulation. And this figure for the sculptor Ouja is also very nice. And I'm glad I was able to get this figure, because this is a figure or character I do enjoy very much on the show, and I'm very happy to have it. This is my casual peek into the S.H.Figuarts Kamen Rider or Masked Rider Ouja. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.